So I
Yes.
call the meeting to order, City of University Heights City Council meeting, December 8th, 2020. And this meeting is conducted electronically tonight due to the COVID. And all the council are present. And the first order of business is approval of minutes, November 10th, 2020. They were circulated. Are there any additions or corrections to the November 10th minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Okay, public input. We have some public here tonight. Would anyone from the public like to speak? State their name and their address, and I have 5 minutes each.
You can, Pat, if either you or Sylvia would like to speak, you can unmute yourself right now and speak if you'd like to.
Okay, so we'll go on to Mayor's report. And tonight, Sarah Waltz is here from the MPO. And thank you and the MPO, Sarah, for all your work on our comprehensive plan. You guys are fantastic. For consideration of resolution number 2035, adopting comprehensive plan update. Now, Sarah's here to answer any questions you may have. Steve gave a good history in his legal report about it. Is there anyone that has any council that has questions or want to make comments?
I mean, I'll just say, I think it's really well done. I think it's a great document, so.
Okay.
You know, one of the things in the comprehensive plan was a circle diagram that showed what percentage we were getting from various revenues and what percentages we were getting from paying in expenses. And I'm wondering if any analysis has been done to compare cities for best practices at all, comparing those circle diagrams. Have you done anything like that, Sarah?
No.
Do you think it would have some value for us, or would it be kind of nice to see how we stack up?
I don't really know how to answer that question. Given that you're an unusual community, you know, we've talked about that before, because you don't provide all those services that a lot of other communities do. You're much more limited. So I guess I don't know. Not having a finance background, I wouldn't know how to answer that question.
Okay, thanks.
Casey, which chart were you referring to in that document? Was it the breakdown?
I can't remember where it was exactly, Bobby, but it was a nice kind of a circle diagram that showed you know, where our revenues are coming from and where our expenses are going. And so I was kind of curious, you know, how we stacked up with other cities of, you know, similar size. How's Tiffin doing? Well, Tiffin's a hell of a lot bigger, but you know, what do other cities, you know, allocate for various things, whether it's, you know, public safety or legal health or
whatever, yeah,
government, or, you know, that kind of thing. And if we vary quite a bit, then there it is. So I was wondering, you know, how we stack up against other cities in that regard. And if we're widely divergent, you know, that'd be a reasonable question as to why that is. There might be good explanations, you know, just I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'd be interesting to know.
So are there any other questions or comments? Because I'll entertain consideration of resolution 2035 for a motion.
I'll make the motion, Louise.
Okay, motion by Lisa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Cook,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Sullivan,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Swales.
Aye.
Carried.
I'm sorry, Sarah, I said I would let you talk about the Severson Charity Challenge first, and then I didn't. And as council knows, we've always done for the last, I'd say this would be the 10th year that we've done the Severson Charity Challenge. And we usually do Ronald McDonald House. And this year, because of COVID, Sarah is going, the MPO staff came up with a new idea, and Sarah's going to share it with everyone.
Yeah, we discussed this at the last meeting of the MPO's Urbanized Area Policy Board that Louise serves on. And Louise mentioned that it was a charity challenge that was initiated about a decade ago to honor Linda Severson, who was the Human Services Coordinator for the MPO for many years. And as a part of the challenge, each community would choose a charity and their staff would raise money. And then we had a little trophy that we awarded to the city that improved their giving the most percentage-wise over the previous year. But as Louise said, due to COVID, just the logistics of collecting things and the way that different staffs are working from at home, this seemed impractical. And so we MPO staff, there's just 5 of us plus our interns, we decided to try something different where we would sort of do the work for you. And we're calling it the Trails to Table Challenge. And our staff is going to walk, bike, and run all 100 plus miles of hard surface trails in the metro area. And we're going to take people with us on those, on our journeys through our Facebook and Instagram page. We are putting up photos, maps, videos, and other information about the various sections of trails, access points to trails, all kinds of stuff. And we're asking people, with the Community Foundation of Johnson County, very generously offered to help us out and put together a link for us so that people can donate, and we will divide the money between the local food pantries because we know that there is a great need for those resources this year. So the food pantry in North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa City will all be the beneficiary. So one of the goals is to feed people, because we know a lot of people are facing hard times, but we also want to encourage people to participate in safe activities, and we all know that outdoor is the safe place to be. You don't have to be socially isolated. You just have to be physically distant from people, and you have to mask up. So we want to get people outdoors, not only for their physical health, but for their mental health, because we also know that there are mental health challenges happening right now in the county. And then we want to promote the remarkable system of trails that we have in the metro area that reach all of the neighborhoods and all of the communities. And so we invite you to follow us on Facebook, follow the MPO page, and you'll find our event page there. And we post several times a week, again, maps, videos, all kinds of fun stuff. We're having a great time with it. And starting next Tuesday, we're going to be doing every Tuesday a noon hour, what we're calling a virtual tour. The first one will be a tour of the Sycamore Greenway Trail. We're going to make our way around the metro on trails and also introduce some special uses of trails, women running on trails, nature observations from trails, all to encourage people to get outside. But the most important thing is for people to donate to the food banks.
How do we donate, Sarah? Is there a website or something, or we send a check?
Yeah,
to
so
the
there's a link. There's 2 ways. You can go to the Facebook page and there's a link from there. Otherwise, if you go to the MPO's page, mpojc.org, if you scroll all the way to the bottom in our quick links, there's a Trails to Table link, and that will get you to a donation link.
Thank you.
We'll put it on the website too, our city website for people,
Great.
because it goes through the community.
It goes all the way till the end of January. We're
Oh,
really
yes,
trying to
and
get,
it goes longer, yes, end of
yeah,
January.
we're really trying to get people through the winter. And I have to tell you myself, I've been riding a lot because of this. riding with a GoPro on my head. And I have to say that getting out on these nice days that we've been having lately and exploring trails that I don't get to very often, that it's really lifted my spirits. So we're hoping, and I should say that the routes that we'll post, we're going to do longer routes. We're calling those like 4 to 5 mile routes will be our longer ones. And then we'll have shorter ones that are 1 to 2 miles. So our first trail that we did was a 4 mile stretch of the Clear Creek Trail. And the second route that we did was just a short 2 to 3 mile route along the Iowa River, like a nighttime walk near Hansher. So we're going to be all over the metro having fun.
Well, thank you, Sarah.
Thanks,
Thank you
Louise.
for everything. Pass it on. And Lisa and I will work at getting the link posted. It's
Yeah, I'll send you something tomorrow.
Okay, great.
All right,
Thank you,
great. Thank
Sarah.
you.
And thanks for attending. We appreciate all your work.
Sure.
Thank you. So the next business is consideration of resolution number 2036, accepting the resignation of council member Casey Cook, effective January 1st, 2021. Casey, you know how I feel. The council and I sadly see you leave, and we'll miss you and wish you the best. So I need, did you want to say anything at all, or I'm just
Nope,
gonna,
just thanks for your kind words, Louise.
so I'll consider resolution number 2036. Is there a motion?
So
Yes, I'll
moved.
make the motion. I'll make the motion unless Casey
Okay,
wants to make
Lisa
it.
will make the motion. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
And Casey will second. Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Sullivan,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Swales,
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, and now, as I said to the council last month, we'll have the next steps to discuss. And so I had Steve put 2, consideration of resolution number 2037, which is intention of the council to fill by appointment. And then there's a consideration of resolution 2038, requesting the auditor set a special election to fill the vacancy. So I open the discussion to the council. Steve wrote very detailed in his legal report, and I don't know if you have questions for him, but what would council's desire be?
I think at this date, I would be in favor of appointing someone. Taking,
I'm having trouble hearing Lisa.
yeah, at this point, at this
That's better.
date, we're halfway through the term. By the time this takes place, it'll only be months. So I would be in favor of an appointment, taking applications for consideration.
I'd agree with that.
That's how I feel too. I think for the reasons Lisa stated, plus, I mean, given the, pandemic, I just feel like just adding a election maybe isn't the best decision at this point. So I'd like to see if we could get some applicants and appoint.
Plus it costs money, costs the
And
city some money.
It does cost money to have the election, yeah. And maybe, I mean, I don't want to speculate, but yeah, it would cost money.
So that's 3 council who, I hear from 3 council who are in favor of appointment. And so we need to set, I think Steve wrote time, like application and when and what time and deadlines? What do we need, Steve? We need some of those things, right?
I just wanted to know if you wanted to take.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
So I
the
was-
resolution 2037,
I was.
Thank you.
uh,
You can come in and give me an update every now and then. Okay. I'll turn my computer so it's not.
Hey, Lori, your mic's unmuted, by the way.
Your mic
Oh,
is
sorry.
muted.
yeah, so 2037 provides that the council would receive applications through February 1 and then appoint at the meeting February 9. If you want to change those, that's your prerogative, but that's the way I drafted it based on looking at the calendar, the holidays, university schedule, talking with Louise. That's kind of what we came up with as a proposal, but those dates are up to the council. So 2037 says applications accepted through February 1, and the council would take action at its meeting February 9.
Is that what council is thinking, or did they want to change the date, or?
I
I
mean,
think
it's
that's,
fine with me, I guess. I trust your, you thought through that a little bit. It makes sense to me, Steve.
I think that sounds reasonable. So they'd have, yeah, basically from whenever we post the notice to February 1. And then on the 1st, does that mean, or sorry, on the 9th meeting, is that kind of when anybody who's applied would come to the council meeting and we have the discussion then? Is that, I'm just trying to understand that.
Yeah, that's kind of the way we have it set up, Sarah. I think the notice actually says that the council may permit, and we tried to make it flexible depending on schedule. And, I assume we're still going to be electronic by then, but yeah, appear by Zoom. That's the practice of the council in the past, is that it's permitted applicants to, make brief remarks.
And then we would decide at that
And then you
meeting
would-
as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess I don't propose any, I don't necessarily propose any changes to that timeline. I don't know how others feel.
Yeah, I think the sooner the better.
Okay,
Does one of us need to make a motion, Luis, to,
yes.
I'm happy to make a motion to adopt, is it 2037?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, motion by Bobby. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Doug. Further discussion? Roll call vote.
O'Sullivan,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Swales. Aye. Cook,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
carried.
Okay, thank you. A hotel update. I was kind of guessing 7:20 and it's 7:19. And so we'll just keep on going. And when I told Greg to come on at around 7:20. So we'll go to legal report, and Steve sent the legal report. Do you have any questions for Steve? Okay, nothing for that. City clerk, Mike and Chris sent the city clerk report with the meeting. Are there any questions for Mike? Okay, we'll go on to the city treasurer report, and Lori sent that, I think last night before. And we'll go to the warrants, and the list of warrants were there. Were there any add-ons to the warrants, Lori? I
didn't have any. I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay, I didn't see any either. Okay. Are there any objections to paying the bills? Hearing none, the bills will be paid by unanimous consent. We'll go on to community protection. Troy and Sarah. Chief, do you want to go first? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yes, it's been a relatively quiet month, and much of that has to do with COVID. As is mentioned a couple places in the report, we are pulling back again as a department. That's true of law enforcement in the area, and that is also at the request of the Johnson County Attorney's Office. The court system, the justice system right now is ground to mostly a standstill, and until we return to some sense of normalcy, we are being asked to try to handle and resolve situations short of enforcement. The county attorney has said if enforcement is her only option, then certainly use it, but she strongly encourages to find other ways to deal with matters. So you'll see us scaling back. We have not closed the police department. We are still open for walk-in. We are requiring persons who come into the community center to be masked, sanitize after they leave. We are still doing fingerprinting. So we're still trying to do business as usual as much as we can. Football has really been a non-issue. I think people have really been understanding of University Heights change in practices for this year. There have not been any repeat gatherings at any place that did have gatherings that they just weren't aware of these changes. So that has gone well. COVID, and it's one of the resolutions that is before you. The wording needed to be changed on one of the letters or one of the resolutions that was passed for us to be eligible for reimbursement of some of our public safety related expenses, our salary expenses. And Steve redrafted that, and that is before you. So that will need to be acted on. FEMA, as far as derecho, the mayor and I continue to work with Susan from ER Assist to move that process forward, and it's going slowly, but we are still within our timetable. You know, the only other thing that I would mention that's not in the report is yesterday, University Heights, Iowa City, Lynn County took reports of at least 2 individuals in the community. They were driving a nondescript white car. Nobody paid that much attention to it. They are dressed in reflective vests like you might see on a construction crew, or in this case, somebody from the water department, and they are claiming to be from the water department. They are apparently, common theme in each of the communities is they are targeting more elderly residents and trying to talk their way into the house, saying that they need to inspect the water line. One person will go in, actually they'll both go in, and one person will ask to go to the basement or some other area of the house. If the resident goes with that worker, and the other resident helps himself to whatever he can find quickly in the house, and then they leave together. If on the other hand, the resident stays with, suspect number 2, while the other person goes into the basement, the person who goes somewhere else in the house is looking to see what jewelry or stuff that they can find. Fortunately, there was no loss anywhere in University Heights. There were multiple residents in the home that was targeted, and each of those women stayed with the suspects as they can. That was not true in some of the other communities. So if you hear of that happening or ask about that happening, again, any information that we can have, there is a law enforcement, the intelligence network. So that's being coordinated through all of the area agencies trying to locate and identify. But that just occurred yesterday, so that does not figure in my report.
When you said it was a white vehicle?
Yes, the people who did notice the vehicle said that it was a white vehicle, possibly like a Ford Escape type vehicle. Some people described it as a sedan. Some people said that they thought it had out of state plates, but nobody is certain. Really, the best description is that, again, 2 males nondescript clothing other than they were wearing the reflective vests and they were passing themselves off.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief? Sarah, you added a written report.
I did, and I just kind of want to state about the Citizens Advisory Board. So we have an opening on that board. It was Dottie Maher's spot that we will need to fill, and I would like to follow the same process that was followed to create the board, since the board itself hasn't had time to really put the policies, procedures together for an opening. So kind of the policies for the original creation of the board was 2 council members and the president of the local NAACP chapter. And so I'm going to propose that Lisa and I do that unless there's any objection. She was on the, I guess she was on the subcommittee last term to select the council. So I think that'd be some good continuity. And then we'll work with Kevin Sanders to see if he wants to do it or appoint somebody else. So just if there's anybody that's interested in the public that's interested in applying, it does need to be a University Heights resident. There's other positions on that board, but this is for one of the residents. So we will put some information on the website about how to apply.
Okay.
Sarah, did you want to talk about the Black Lives Matters meeting?
The restrictive covenants committee, I mean, I put that in my report. I don't think, I'm certainly not prepared to have that discussion at this meeting. I think there's some documentation the committee is working on. Yeah, I did put in my report. I just kind of did want to give this council an update on what that committee is the recommendations that they're coming up with. But yeah, Casey, I just don't think we're ready at this point to have the discussion. I haven't had a chance to talk
That's
with,
fine. I just, if you just forgot to say it, I wanted to remind you, but I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions for Sarah? Thank you, Sarah. Let's see, we'll go down to streets and sidewalks, and that's Josiah and Doug.
Louise, we have a resolution.
Oh, we have the resolution. Resolution number, thank you, Lisa, Resolution 2039. And that's what Chief was talking about, requesting reimbursement from the Iowa COVID-19 Government Relief Fund and FEMA Public Assistance Program. And Steve sent that to you, I believe today. And so we need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
And second by Bobby. Discussion?
I've got a question, Louise.
Sure.
If I understand it right, they're willing to reimburse us for about $24,000 of the $44,000 in expenses that we've had so far, and the resolution is to ask them to reimburse us for 100%. Is that correct?
Well, they needed specific wording, right, Troy? They needed specific wording.
Right.
We had one earlier, and it had to be corrected to include all, what was the wording?
All eligible expenses. What happened, Casey, is we don't really have any material costs that meet the threshold. But under the CARES Act, the wording that was there was an allowance for a certain percentage, and it was written out at 25% of your public safety costs to be eligible for reimbursement. In dealing with our caseworker, I'm sorry, I don't know what his official title is, said our original resolution, we had requested 25% was 40,000, and now we're only eligible, the maximum eligible amount that we can receive, I think, is $24,348 or something like that. So Eric is saying, our caseworker is saying, you need to change your resolution. And instead of asking for 40,000, which we can't give you, you need to ask for the max, don't even put a number on it. He said, ask for the maximum allowable amount, which in our case would be roughly 25,000.
I got it. Is a similar kind of thing liable to happen with the derecho and the $100,000 of tree trimming that we did on that?
It's,
We know.
the
I think
state.
that's a different process in dealing with ER assist on that. And there we have actual costs that the city incurred beyond just a government entity saying that you can make an assumption that a certain percentage of your public safety costs are eligible. So there's likely to be some adjustment of what we actually get, yes, but it's a completely different entity. It's federal government instead of somebody from the
Federal.
state. who's
That's
the-
what I wonder if it was federal or state. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Scott,
Aye.
Swales, Cook,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Sullivan.
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And we'll go to the engineer report and the committee report. So who wants to start first? Who do you want to start first, Doug? You're on mute.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Josiah just got the information from Iowa City the other day about our crosswalk survey, and I think we'll let him start with that.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
So on my report on the MPO count as a follow-up, so they did do pedestrian crossing counts in Melrose, and included in the report is their graphic with their raw data for the AM peak hour and the PM peak hour. I guess my comments looking at it were, you know, essentially a lot of what they saw is what we expected. The majority of pedestrians are heading east in the morning and coming back west in the afternoon. The majority of the mid-street crossings are occurring just west of the railroad bridge, not at any of the crosswalks. And then I did follow up with the MPO. If you're looking at that graphic, you can see basically people either cross at Evashevsky, cut across the intersection on the east side of the bridge, or they come across the bridge and cross right there, basically where the Marriott entrance drive is. Then they had this third arrow, which was crossings west of Olive Court. That was interesting, and I guess that was somewhat unexpected. I asked them if that arrow was supposed to mean the Olive Court crosswalk. They said no, that they didn't see any crossings at those two times at using the existing crosswalk at Olive Court. That was just people sort of diagonally cutting across the street somewhere between Kosher and Olive. So that was a little bit interesting. I guess at that, does anybody have any other questions or observations or things I'd like to know about this data that was collected?
So no one used the crosswalk?
Yeah, the Olive Court crosswalk, the one that's marked on the west side of Olive Court, that's specifically what I asked. And they
But it
said
seems odd, but
we counted zero during those two times.
And they weren't looking at the Kozer crosswalks.
They did not.
Okay.
I mean, I can certainly gather any comments from you guys, questions or comments. The next step is basically to have the MPO take that back now that we've looked at it and create a actual memo, MPO JC memo, with their data and suggestions on a crosswalk location or different options for crosswalk locations there, and pavement markings and signage. And So I guess my question would be tonight if, you know, as a council, you're in agreement with getting in touch with the MPO and asking them to proceed.
I just wonder, Josiah, is this an MPO priority or is it a priority that we proposed?
It's a work item that the University Heights asked them to look into.
When did we do that?
I think this was a little over a year ago. So they
Like,
have a long
this-
list of work items from all the different cities, and this is one we've been waiting for them to get around to.
So this was prior to this council, because I hadn't heard about this until just a couple of weeks ago. Is that work order something that we could take a look at just to find out what previous councils have said and what their priorities are?
Yes, although I'm not sure what the work order would look like, other than there was a list of items. So every year the city has lists of items that they'd like MPO to assist with. And I think this one came up because it corresponded with the Marriott Hotel back at that time.
Right. It was a work order that we submitted. I talked to Ken about it and he told me that, remember, Louise, you and Josiah submitted this earlier for the MPOJC because of the hotel.
It's probably something we should take a look at so we know what the hell the orders are, so they don't blindside us like this. I mean, as a council, you know, unless you were here, you know, more than a year ago, because I hadn't heard about any of this for the year that I was on the council. And, you know, it's a bit of a surprise. And I think that work order is something that ought to be circulated among the councilors so we know what's going on.
But I guess to Josiah's question, like I would be interested to see what their recommendation is, what the NPO's recommendation on should the crosswalk be moved, or, you know, just what they think. I don't see any reason to stop that work.
And the primary intent is to improve just traffic flow, pedestrian flow at the intersection at the hotel.
Mhm.
Hasn't there been some question in the past of whether to keep painting that crossing at Olive Court? Like, isn't that kind of, there's like, it was painted and then for a little while we didn't paint it, and then there's some question about whether to keep that crosswalk there.
And then a few meetings ago, someone had raised a question, I believe, with Doug, and we had talked about this, about the Olive Court crossing. People aren't yielding, and yeah, it just all kind of came together.
I had 3 physicians that contacted me and brought it to my attention and were quite concerned about public safety, and they kind of got the fire relit. So they knew a lot of the background and the history of the previous council, and they wanted to make sure that this got restarted again, which it did. And I'm glad to see that we're moving forward on it. And like we all probably are in agreement with, that's going to benefit, with the hotel there now being there, that I think it would be a good idea for the MPO to study that and give us a real educated assessment of what we should do with that.
Yeah, I'm not taking issue with the idea, Doug. I'm just taking issue with the fact that we've never seen this list of things that are work orders and such that go to the MPO or what we've asked them for. I kind of like to know. I mean, you know, and I'm a little surprised that everybody doesn't kind of want to know what they are, but that's up to you.
So we know the next steps, right? The next steps were the MPO is going to give a report.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
And okay, very good. And is there anything you need from the council, Josiah, other than?
No, I just just an informal, direction that's what I should go back to them with and have them continue and finalize it. And I guess if anybody has any comments or questions, we can pass those along to the MPO as well.
Pass my comment on that. We'd like to see that work order, Josiah.
Okay. Yep. I'm sure that Kent has a listing of, each city and what they have on their work item list.
Yeah, I guess to Casey's point, is it Casey more around what are there outstanding requests that we've made to them that are out there that we just aren't aware of? I mean, or you want to see this one specifically?
Excuse me.
No, what you have suggested is what I have concerns about.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, a list of any other outstanding requests we have for them. That would be nice to know, I guess.
Certainly.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that item from anybody? The other thing in my report, the Gulfview Drive parking project, I did submit or attach a schedule for that. So we're still looking at sending that out to bid in January, bid date in February, so that it can begin next spring. What you should see from us as the last final plan review submittal would be the end of this month. So that's all the update I have on that project at the
Yeah,
moment.
thanks for sending that timeline. It's very helpful.
And last but not least, Olive Court, my note in the report, they are done with their field work, but they do have some documents and contractual bonds and things to submit. And so we'll hold off on paying their final bill and accepting the work until they get that turned in. I think that's all I have, Doug.
Yeah, the only other thing I have to offer is Louise, Mark Phelps, who does our snow removal, and myself had a meeting the other day with snow removal, and we pretty much just went over where our boundaries were and pretty much just making sure we're all on the same page. So their expectations are the same as our expectations, and there was really nothing there to really bring up. So Mark is really good for our snow removal. He explained all the different various types of snow removal equipment he has and trigger points of what kind of equipment to use. And they're going to a liquid brine instead of a granulated salt this year to kind of do a lot more pre-treating. And I think Mark has got a really good handle on that. So I think we're going to have pretty good streets if we ever get a winter yet this year.
Are there any questions for Doug or Josiah? Okay, I keep looking at the agenda and I keep forgetting to go back to Greg Steltner. He did join us, and Greg can give the hotel update, and he'll have to be unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay. Well, I'm in a lot better spirits this go around than I was last time. Sorry for being, frustrated last time, but this time, we've hit some strides. I'm really excited. All the drywall on the first floor, pretty much the entire building is now complete. I think there's a few little loose ends here and there, but it's about 99% complete. The mud and tape guys are on first floor going to town. So pretty soon here we'll be putting up vinyl and doing finishes on first floor, which is really exciting. Fifth floor, we're going to be doing punch list items on there here pretty quick. We just started putting the vinyl wallpaper in the hallways on fifth, and then fourth, third, and second is following suit behind those. So the hotel is getting a lot closer now that the drywall and the framing is complete. The exterior, we're getting real close. The landscapers were there today, and they're going to try to get a lot finished up tomorrow. At this, nice day we got tomorrow, and planting some more trees. So we're going to get, hopefully this week, get a lot of the landscaping really close to being 100%. I opening wise, still, with what I've seen in the last little bit here, I'm still hoping that we can open fairly quickly, but it's still going to look like, February, is what I'm looking at right now. But I'm excited to see the progress though that we've made here recently. That's along with some of the quality control issues that I was having trouble with. I think we've got some of those ironed out, and we got some things to make sure that that's taken care of and we get our quality control in the way I want it. I got pretty high expectations for the whole project to make sure it's, a very good, exciting, popular, and good building. So, but other than that, there is some landscaping things. I don't know if you guys saw the 905 Melrose area. We got a lot of the sod done there. Got that all buttoned up. I do have a railing and some more wall to I got to finish that wall a little bit, and I got some railing in front of 905 to finish. But I think that all that concrete going into that back drive behind Olive Court, I think that all turned out really, really nice. I'm really excited about how that all turned out and how we put a lot of dirt on 905 and made that a lot better. So I'm really excited. I took a picture from the hotel down there looking at that property. I wish I could show it to you guys, but it's I'm sure you guys, if you get out there walking around, and you'll see that 905 turned out really nice as far as the sod and how the dirt work. It just really cleaned that area up tremendously. So with that being said, if anybody's got any questions.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Greg. Are you still actively trying to find anybody for your rooftop restaurant at all? Are you kind of fishing around, or are you having any luck?
Currently, not at this time, but I am absolutely not turning it away if someone wants to talk to me. We're really focused on getting this space for events, for event center. So we're really focused on getting the space, because we got to get it open and get it, making some money for us so we can pay for this thing. But if someone did come to me and wanted to put a restaurant in there, it'd be a pretty easy task, I think, to turn that space, because we're not doing anything. We're just doing a kitchen and a big open space. So it'll be really simple. If someone wanted to put a restaurant in there, they could, and we worked out a deal, we could easily do that. But I'm not actively looking because I just don't think, anybody wants to open a restaurant right now.
No.
So, but I will talk to people for sure.
You hit Jimmy Montanaro up. He's always looking to get his foot in something.
Well, I know he makes a pretty good steak, that's for sure. I haven't spoke to him yet, but no.
Okay. Well, good luck in that. I wish you the best. I get a lot of feedback from folks, and they're really chomping on the bit. And I don't want to rub salt in the wound because you can't help it, but there's a lot of people really rooting for you, and they really, really, really would like to see that restaurant, because that's kind of a Manhattan thing in Iowa City, and they're really rooting for you to find something. So just know that there's a lot of people rooting for you.
Yep. No, I know that for sure, and that's why in the interim, I'm trying to make the lower level first floor restaurant just exciting and really good as well. So we can, entertain, guests there, drink food and drink. I was just, I spent a lot of time in the space today, just visualizing and inhaling and, just taking it all in on the space and trying to just make it better. Anything that I can do every day, I'm just looking at the space. What can I do to make this better? What can I do to make this better? And it's not going to stop with the food and the taste of the food. I just spoke to my AGM yesterday about, I want to start bringing people in 2 weeks before we open. I want full service, food being served 2 weeks before we open, just to like friends and family, and just so we can get the food thing figured out right away. And, we're not having any hiccups there. I have a lot of anxiety about that, because I don't want, the negative publicity if we don't have our food right, our food and drink, so I'm a foodie. So I just really want to do it right and make it look, taste, it doesn't have to be extremely, that first floor, it's not extremely big, but I just want it to be quality, and that's what's important to me. So.
Well, I think right now your biggest enemy is the circumstances right now. Yeah. And I'm pretty confident that when the vaccines start hitting and the numbers start going down, I think the sunshine will come back to you here on that. Yep. So
we're optimistic. We're optimistic. It's the space. I don't know what it is about the space. When you're walking through the building, it doesn't matter if you're on first floor or sixth floor. It's just, it gives you such a sense of excitement and energy that I can't explain. It's just, looking out from from that angle, just looking out over the stadium and the hospital, and then on first floor, same thing. And the lighting, and it's just very interesting how the lighting just shines through that first floor. It just gives you a sense of excitement and awesome feelings. And I couldn't be more excited as I am right now. Except for, when we get the thing open. So.
Greg, do I understand then that you're hoping to get it open by the end of February?
Yeah, that's what I'm really pushing for. If not sooner. We have a date, I think in March with Marriott, but they said we can move that up whenever we want. So
the reason I ask it, it always seems like in my business, December we always had vacations, sick kids, and ice storms. And between the three of them and now COVID, I understand the vaccine is going to be a 2-shot deal and a month apart and a month before it really becomes really effective. I think it sounds to me like the end of February might be physically done, but you got your work cut out for you.
Well, you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. I'm just excited about trying to get it open as soon as possible. But, if the bank, we talked to the bank and the bank thinks that it's better for business wise to open in March, then we might do that, because as soon as we open, and, we got to start making those monthly payments, and that's going to be pretty hard. So if we can push that a little bit and do, just keep the construction loan going, then that might be an option. That might be something we talk about during those times, but
so you're flexible but optimistic.
Oh yeah, for sure. We might come back to you next month and, be like, well, but who knows? But I it's like, how things go. It'll probably be March, but I'm hoping February. So.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Greg? Thank you very much.
No.
Oh yeah.
Well, nobody really commented on how the concrete turned out in that front entry. Does everybody like that? I mean, how that all turned out on the main entrance, and how that that folded into that back street drive. I don't know if you guys like that or if you think it could have been done better, but I'm excited about it.
No, I drove through there. It looks fantastic. I think you're going to have good water drainage. I think your contractor there that did your concrete did a great job.
Yeah, he's there. You guys use him, that Bill Simon and the way he's got those guys. They do a great job, and the guy, his number one superintendent there, he Doug, on his name can't, but he's great too. He's really good.
Yeah,
Well,
I
thank you.
have to look at that specifically, but I did notice how nice it looks with the lights on now, like when I walked by at night. And
I'm glad you brought that up.
really nice.
I'm glad you guys brought that up. I did want to kind of get some opinions. Sorry, Louise, if I'm taking more time here, but the lights that change color. I was talking to Jim today that maybe there's the sconce lights that go up and down on the sides of the building, and I was thinking about changing those out to where if I wanted to, and only if I wanted to, I can change the color of those at times. And I didn't know if anybody had any objections to that, because if you make your light all these different colors at certain times, and then it draws attention, a lot of attention, and I didn't know if that was something that you guys would not like or like. I mean, I guess.
Do you mean they constantly change colors, or you could
No.
put it like red on Valentine's Day or something?
Correct.
Like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. That's it. Yep. Just on certain, like maybe on a Friday night or a Saturday night, something different color. That's but yeah, just I was, after we saw those lights changing colors, we kind of like started sparking more ideas. So,
Yeah, I don't have any objections. But
As long as they don't strobe, I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Tastefully, do it tastefully. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks again for coming.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Finance Committee, and Steve had written this resolution in his legal report and explaining it. And do you have any questions about that? Any comments you want to make, Bobby?
No, really. I mean, really, it's a formality. We have to, anytime we pay off the debt services, we have to basically create a resolution to acknowledge the transfers of money and where it's coming from. So it's pretty much a formality from what I understand, and after talking to Steve. So I don't know that there's much discussion really to have about it necessarily.
So do you want to make a motion for consideration of resolution number?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lisa. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Swales,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
O'Sullivan,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Carried.
Anything else you wanted to report?
The other thing was I mean, this is a little ways out, but in talking about the budget, they changed the date that we have to, last year, you guys remember what they did that, they changed the date we have to submit the budget with that process change. So on the 9th of February, we'll have a discussion about the full budget. You guys saw that in Steve's email, and then a special meeting on March 2nd and March 23rd. Again, it's somewhat of a formality, but that's what the state of Iowa requires that we do. And so, anyway, that's coming up, but nothing other than that, nothing really.
Okay, thank you very much, Bobby. We'll go to Building, Zoning, and Sanitation, and Casey. You have anything?
I've really got no report tonight. It's there hasn't been much on building, sanitation, or zoning, so my report is very brief, which is none at all.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Lisa, you sent around an e-government report.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions for Lisa? Thank you for putting something about the leave pickup, because I think it went very well. And they came back even another time because they were working at OUP, and they went around again. But they usually only go around once. And so we were fortunate that they did. I think it went very well this time. And, you know, we'll talk about a spring pickup because they still can have a spring pickup. We still have that in our budget. And also, Sarah will send us something and we can put that Trails charity event on there so people can click onto that to donate through the Community Foundation directly for that too. Is there anything else? Wait, oh, and you sent us around an email to Doug and Troy and I about snow removal, and you're going to be putting something, as you did last year, to post about how people have to remove snow. So that'll be good. Thanks, Lisa. I know you're going to add that.
I had a question,
Yeah.
Lisa. There was a figure you had at the end of your report, and it showed the number, I think, was 74, 75. Was it hits that people really dug into the website? It was an acronym that I didn't recognize.
I don't have it in, in my head here. Sorry.
It was like FEQ or something like that, and I didn't know what it was.
I'm seeing 75 max actions in one visit is what I'm.
That's it. So what's a max action?
I'm guessing that that's one visit did 75 different things.
70.
And that was the maximum.
Oh, so one visit did 75 different things. Okay, thank you.
Ooh. Are you looking at the score? Ooh, don't look. There's still, what, 9 minutes left? Come on. Looking at that.
Perfect time to wrap up then, I think.
Let's see. So then we have announcements. Any other announcements? And is there any objection to adjournment? Hearing none, the meeting's adjourned by unanimous consent, and everybody have a great holiday and stay safe. And thanks again, Casey, for all you've done. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Luis.
Great, thanks.
All right.
Take care, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.